Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB bikini pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Today, we are speaking with an athlete who earned her pro card at the first Olympia Amateur as the overall winner, and she was even Athlete of the Year in 2017. She has 7 championships under her belt and is known as a co-owner of BBL Fitness, a sports nutritionist, certified fitness coach, and opposing coach for all NPC and IFBB divisions, as well as the WBFF. And she was born in Jamaica. She currently lives in Florida with her husband and is pregnant with their first child. So welcome to the show, Jodi Riley. How are you doing?
How are you?
I am awesome. Good. I am so happy you're here. And before we begin, I always love to know if there's something you do or think about or a ritual you have right before your heel hits the stage.
Interesting. Okay, so a ritual that I do or have right before stage, I would say, okay, as soon as I get backstage, one, I would focus on my posing. I'll go over my posing routine over and over until I feel comfortable, until I feel like I've gotten it 100% dialed in, 100% perfect, pretty much. Another thing, it's as fun as it is to, meet new athletes backstage and mingle with the other girls. At some point, I would find my corner and just meditate. I would lay down, have my feet up, my music in my ear, and I would just meditate and try to get in the zone and focus on the task at hand. Now, once we're called to line up, what I'm focused on that at that moment is whether we're signing on from the left or whether we're signing on stage from the right. I'm still going over my routine a little bit there. But one thing, most importantly, I would always send a prayer up. So I'd always say a quick prayer before getting on stage. After my prayer, I'm still listening to the music, getting in the zone just to, get comfortable and shake those nerves off.
I love that. What kind of music are you listening to?
While I'm meditating, I'm listening to gospel, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we're lined up, I'm just listening to whatever music they're playing. But yeah, once I'm meditating, the music that's in my headphones is most of the time gospel or something fierce like Beyonce that'll get me a little bit more hype.
I love that. I was actually talking to one of your athletes and she has posed with you and she's like, you got to talk to her about how she helps people bring their sass out on stage. And that's something that helps you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course. You mean like they were asking you to ask me how I get my that's up? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like when you're helping girls with their posing, because you've been coaching posing for 6 years and you're very experienced. So what do you feel I'm sorry, what'd you say? We cut out a little bit.
Yeah, we kind of cut off there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So as a posing coach, to the other girls bring out their sass. One, during my sessions, I have a studio upstairs of my gym. So we pretty much practice as if we're on a stage. Actually, I have like a baseboard where I let them know like this is where the judges are. Once we go over their specific routine, then I'll play some music and I'll get them comfortable. I just have them channel. I would let them know, like, just imagine like your boyfriend or you're dancing for your husband. He's sitting on a chair in front of you, and just bring out that sass that you would. Or imagine walking through the club and your ex is watching you. Just bring out that energy, because we all have like a different side to us, you know. So I have them just imagine a scenario where they would be their most sassiest, and we would go over the hair flips, the catwalk, the um how they would have their makeup to bring out their features, just to have them feeling confident. That'll make them present themselves more confidently. So we
Mm.
go over all of that. What suit they're gonna wear, what colors go well with their skin complexion, everything. So we go over pretty much every single detail that would help bring out that sass.
I love it. It's so true. Like the way we look and how we feel when we look at ourselves, especially on show day, makes such a big difference in how we present ourselves. And I think it's really cool that you try to
Absolutely.
like emulate that.
Yeah, in our sessions, I tell them, dress up, put your makeup on, do your hair exactly how you're gonna have it on stage. Come in your bikini. I don't want to see you in leggings or shorts, and bring your heels, and we're gonna, pose exactly how we're gonna present to the judges. So,
That's
and that.
awesome. Yeah, one of your clients actually was telling me too that a lot of the check-ins are in person for the people who are nearby, that you guys do with Body by Loleta. So, I mean, what do you think, just in general? Like, walk us through your competition prep team and how you approach the work you do with your clients that you feel really sets your team apart from other teams or other coaches.
Okay, so the thing is, so we have the gym BBL Fitness. Our team is Team Lolita. So majority of our athletes train at our gym. They come, we're very hands-on with our athletes. They can walk into our office literally at any given moment just to, just if they feel off a certain day, they can come in for us to check. And I feel like we have that advantage because there's nothing there's nothing wrong with online coaching. I feel like you can still get the best out of your coach online, but with us, we get to see our athletes day in and day out. We know exactly how they're training. We're in charge of their meal plan, so even when they come to the gym, they're bringing their meals with them.
Mm-hmm.
So either whether it's their pre-workout or post-workout, we see exactly what they're eating, and we really get to stay on top of them. As far as the posing in the gym, another way, touch pedaling back on
Yeah.
that topic, bringing the sass out. A lot of times, I would have the girls pose in front of the entire gym,
Oh.
especially the shy ones, the ones I know are kind of reserved. I would have them at night, especially because that's when the gym is the most packed. I would have them in their bikini and heels posing in front of the entire gym as if, they're on stage with an audience. And I find that that makes them so much more comfortable and open on stage. So
Mm.
that part really helps. Now going back to um, just prep in general with our athletes, we have about 8 trainers, and our athletes train in groups with the trainers. Our trainers have over 30 years experience. Of course, the newer ones have about 10 years. So we're very confident in the package that we bring to stage with our athletes, especially with me being the posing coach. All our clients are required to pose with me. I'm there literally all day, even on weekends. They can book their sessions with me whenever they're available. I'm available. I make myself available. And Lolita, she's the head coach. She's there 24. I cannot get her to leave the gym. Even like when the gym is closed, she's like still behind, just finding something to do. So the athletes pretty much have access to us all the time. So I think that really gives us the edge over um, other teams.
I mean, that's a pretty phenomenal experience to be providing clients and competitors, and especially in a sport like this where things can change overnight or with a small variable, and it can impact the way that
Exactly.
we're looking, so to be able to have your coach see that is awesome. And what really, I know, okay, so let me backtrack a little. Your mom is Lolita, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about what that was like to grow up in a household of this type of lifestyle, but I do want to know, like, what has allowed you guys, or maybe what has inspired you guys to really create this camaraderie or this experience you provide for your clients, because there aren't a lot of teams doing this.
Right. So my mom, she competed back in Jamaica. As you stated earlier, I was born in Jamaica. So she started competing in her late 20s, actually. She was a champ in Jamaica before we migrated here. She competed here, won her shows here. But after that, it just became tiresome for her. So she wanted to take on the business aspect of it. So um, she owned a gym in Miami initially, and after that, we moved to Pembroke Pines, and she started working at the facility we are now. It's BBL Fitness because we've taken it over, but the actual
Mm.
gym has been there for over 20 years, I would say, ran by um, a lot of different owners with different names. So at the time, it was Platinum Fitness, I believe, and she became the head trainer there in a matter of months.
Wow.
So she pretty much had all the clients there were under her. She would just prep, not even prep, just train a few ladies here and there, train the guys until one day one of the ladies came up to her and was like, I think I want to jump into a show. And she was like, okay, let's do it. So this was back in like probably 2012. Um, she prepped a few ladies to in their first show and they did pretty well. So after that, some of the other ladies would start coming up to her to prep them to get in the show, and that's pretty much how the team started. The team started from just transforming regular bodies, everyone getting their transformation and their results and wanting to showcase it on stage.
Mm.
So how I got into it was
Mm-hmm.
long story. Get
I'm ready.
So being her daughter at the time while she was competing, I was never into it. I would always be there at her shows, supporting her, of course. I even painted her for a few of her shows. At 8 years old, I'm painting my mom with pro tan.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Yes.
cool.
But personally, I wasn't into it. I was always proud of her, of course, but I was just I don't know. I never imagined myself doing um, bodybuilding at all. So years went by, and of course, like now I'm in high school, and she's still into the fitness industry, and I'm just focused on school, and I'm in school during the week and partying on the weekends, and I was always, most of my life, I was always overweight.
Mm.
In high school, I was probably like 170, 180, like just regularly 170, I would say 180. Um, but my mom would always encourage me to change my lifestyle, but at that age, we don't want to hear that. Like
Mm-hmm.
back then, like which high schooler wants to get up and think about cardio and eating vegetables and protein, and who wants to eat clean? I was just focused on school and partying with my friends and drinking and just living my best life. And as the years rolled by, like the weight started piling on, piling on, piling on. So I would go to my mom's gym just to visit her, and the members would see me for the first time, like, that's Lolita's daughter? How is that Lolita's daughter? Like, they would look at me and, like, 'cause I was overweight. And it's like Lolita's this huge, like, fitness guru, and it's like, how could her daughter be the complete opposite?
Mm.
So she would always encourage me. And I never took it serious until one day she just stopped. Like her silence hit me more than her actually trying to push me to make a change.
Mm.
So when she pretty much just realized that she was speaking to deaf ears, she just stopped. And I realized like my health started deteriorating. Like I could just feel it. I was breaking out like crazy. I just felt so sluggish every day. I could barely like stay awake to study. And everything was just at a downhill. So I just decided to cut back a few things here and there, like not go out so much, clean up my eating a little bit. I was never a soda drinker, mainly juice, a lot of juice. I would like to drink juice,
Mhm.
never drank water, hated water. So I started drinking a little bit more water, less juice. I would go into the gym, talk to my mom, and she would encourage me. She's like, "Are you ready now?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm ready." Like I would put on my bikini and just break down in tears looking at myself in the mirror. And I just felt so disgusted with myself. I'm like, "I'm ready. I'm ready." I broke down to her. I'm like, "I'm ready." And she's like, "All right." So she gave me a little meal plan, like nothing too strict, just like ease me in. I started doing cardio, and let me tell you something. The results I saw from just working out twice a week and just cleaning up my eating a little bit and cutting out the alcohol, that right there blew my mind.
Mm.
Well, I was like, wow. And this is just the bare minimum. So I'm
Yeah.
like, if I could really put my all into this, just imagine like where I would be, like the heights that I could reach. So I took it a little more serious and I started working out more often, cleaned up my eating even more, and started weight training. She taught me how to squat, lift,
Wow.
yeah, deadlift, and she was pretty much my partner in crime at the moment. And that's when our bond, I would say, like got deeper. We really became best friends during that time.
Mm.
And we would work out together every day. And because now we share the same interests. Like now I'm into exactly what she's been into her whole life, pretty much.
Yes.
So even when we're home, we're talking about what we're gonna do tomorrow, and we're cooking together. And let me tell you something. That's probably the best decision I've ever made. Not just for
Mm.
myself, but for the relationship between my mother and I. And so I continued to work out, eating clean. And so in 2014, there was a competition coming up, and I saw the other girls hopping in it. So I'm like, I want to do it. She's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, get me ready for this show." So we got ready for the show, and I won. I
Wait,
was
how
like,
far out did you prep for that show?
um, I would say probably like 8 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was after I was already like doing very well with her. I would say probably like a year into really hitting it hard with her. That's when I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I think I can do a show. And so we prepped for 8 weeks and I did the show and I won. Of course, back then Bikini was like not nearly as what it is now.
Right.
Back then you just needed like still that small waist, but not so much shoulders, and of course the glutes had to be rounded, but it was pretty much just small waist, just a nice toned beach body pretty much. um
That was 2015, right?
yeah, about 2015. And so I won that show and I'm like, oh my god, they like me, I want to do it again. so,
Uh-huh.
so I did another show and I won again. So I'm like, okay, no, this is, I think this is where I'm meant to be. So yeah, after that, I would just do like one show a year, not taking it very serious, just hopping in a show and then back focusing on school, or because I didn't want it to, because my personality, I'm like an all or nothing person. So I knew if I really took competing very serious at that time, then I would probably my studies would probably lack a little bit. So I would just like hop into one show and then get back to my normal routine with school and everything. And so it wasn't until 2017 when I decided to take it serious. I
Mm-hmm.
did a show in April. I won the overall, and I continued. I did a show in July. I won that show, and I said, you know what? There's the Olympia coming up. This is the very first Olympia. It's an international show at that. This is my first pro qualifier. I'm gonna do it. Everyone's like, "Are you sure this is a really big show?" I'm like, "Yes, this is the one I want to do. I'm gonna do it." And I did the Olympia Amateur, and I won my pro card.
That's so amazing to go from not even living the lifestyle at all and not even wanting to have any interest in it other than painting your mom backstage at like 8 years old, to then being overweight, partying, not prioritizing your health, then having a wake up call from the silent treatment, and of course realizing it yourself, looking in the mirror, not being happy, feeling not so great, and then making your own personal decisions and finally going, you know, I can do this. And now then stepping on stage and doing so well, performing so well, and then deciding, let me go all in with it. What was it about the Olympia Amateur? Was it like you knew you could potentially get your pro card, or was it just like because it was an international show, it sounded fun?
I just wanted to try at the biggest show because there was a huge
Mm-hmm.
hype around the Olympia Amateur. It's like the Olympia Amateur. So I'm like, I have to do it. Like I've been doing so well. I feel like I can really get my pro card here. And the type of athlete that I am, like I believe in myself 100%. I'm very confident when it comes to my prep because I know like I give it 200%. I'm very, very disciplined. I mean, if I have 12 almonds on my diet, I'm eating
Mm-hmm.
12, not 13, not 11. Like
That's
it's
right.
12.
That's right.
Right. So when I'm determined and I put my mind to, and I'm sure, I mean, all athletes would say the same. When my mind is set, like I give it literally everything that's in me. So and the Olympia, I just really wanted to take a shot at it. It was my very first one. It was right in line. I was on a great streak. Um, in the year 2016, a judge actually told me, because that's when I was doing just one show a year, just not taking
Mm-hmm.
it serious. A judge told me, they're like, you're wasting your potential.
Wow.
Like, and this was like an IBB judge. They saw me at a show and they're like, you're really wasting your potential. And that really stuck with me. I'm like, wow. So that's when in 2017, I just went full force. I gave it my
Mm-hmm.
all. Um, and then so leading up to the Olympia Amateur, I was on a great streak. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna go for it. And I did.
You did, and you got that pro card, and then you hit the pro circuit too, and freaking killed it. Like top placings, really. I mean, there it was almost just like no doubt that you had what they were also looking for. It wasn't just like, oh, you won this first time show and whatever. It was like, no, you earned it. You really earned that pro title.
Right. And so many obstacles came my way during that prep for the Olympia because one, that was during Hurricane Irma. So a lot of people
Oh.
already know the story, but we were out of power. I was about 2 weeks out, and the power was out even leading up to peak week.
Mm-hmm.
The power was out. I had to
Wow.
eat my food cold. When I say cold, I mean I'm eating cold asparagus, fish, chicken. I mean, almost freezing cold. I had to do
Mm-hmm.
my cardio. Good thing we had the gym because I was able to go in there and do my cardio. But now listen to this. So we were under curfew, and I had a night session cardio to do. I'm like, no, I'm not missing this. I
Right.
am not. Like, I have to leave no stones unturned, and I'm gonna do what I have to do. I went to the gym, and I'm in the dark with my phone flashlight, getting my cardio in, and I see police lights outside.
No.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to jail for doing cardio. So the police was like, you have to get out. I'm like, okay, please, 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes.
almost done.
They're like, no, wrap it up and leave now. I'm like, okay, fine. So that was an interesting part of that. My flight was canceled. I had to make so many
Oh my
arrangements.
gosh. What did you do?
Much going on. I had to book another flight. I try not to panic because I'm a very spiritual person. So at times, like throughout all of this, I would like just stop and just talk to God and just relax, ease my mind, and just believe that everything is going to work out. Everything's going to be okay. You are destined to be in Vegas and you are going to step on the stage. So I just stayed calm. Everything worked out. My flight worked out. I made it to Vegas. Unfortunately, like my hair appointment was canceled. I didn't have my nails done, so I remained calm. Made it to Vegas. I booked an appointment with the nail tech at the host hotel. I took an Uber to a hair store and I just did something to my hair. I got a wig and just threw it on the day of the show.
Wow.
Yeah, and what really um meant what was really most important to me was making sure that I got my meals in and that um my water intake and all those little details were on point. My hair, I knew whatever it looked like, I would just figure something out. My nails, even if I didn't get my nails done, I that wasn't my main concern. My concern was just having my suit, my heels, and that body
Mm-hmm.
dialed in and ready for that stage. So yeah, I got my tan. Everything worked out fine. Made it to the Olympia and won the overall. That's why I knew this show was destined for me. From the day I decided this is the show I'm gonna do, I just had like a gut feeling like
Mm.
this was a show for me, and I knew no matter what happened, I would get to Vegas and everything would be fine. So
Wow.
yeah,
Were there any issues with getting the food you needed on your plan at the grocery store given the hurricane?
yes.
So what did
Um,
you do?
So I would just kind of like try to split my meals the best way I could. I would have like 4 ounces fish and some vegetables. I would just try to like space it out, like probably like 2 ounces here and there. And then, but after a while, like once I got to Vegas, I was able to get my meals. But while I was here, see, I pretty much have my meals prepped. I would say I would have like a week worth of food already prepped.
Mhm.
So I was okay in that aspect, but when the food started like dwindling down, that's when I would panic. Like, okay, so what am I gonna do now? I'm gonna have to like space this out and make sure that I have enough food to last me the day. And that part of it was fine. It was just eating it cold that really grossed me out. Um,
That's
but
so funny because I literally eat so many of my meals cold just because I don't like the way it tastes reheated. Like chicken, I can't. I don't like it reheated.
like in chicken is not so bad, but when you're eating fish and asparagus that's not cooked, like that's pretty much raw asparagus straight out the grocery store,
Yeah, that's
like
pretty
crunching.
nasty.
Yeah. So but once I got to Vegas, I was sponsored at the time, so I had a company that pretty much helped me out with the food. So
That's
I was,
awesome.
mhm.
That's amazing that you were sponsored too before having earned your pro card and
Yeah. It's a company. It was Bro Activewear at the
Mhm.
time. Like he did my tanning and my food, and he said he saw the potential in me, and I guess he just wanted to give it a shot. And he
That's
was very
awesome.
proud of me when I earned the pro card that day.
Oh, I bet a lot of people were really proud of you.
Oh yes, my entire gym. I mean, they had me on a live back at home,
Uh-huh.
and people at the gym were like crying because I'm
Oh,
like everyone's little sister in the gym, and everyone's like crying, and they're so proud. And some of my members at the gym, they actually flew to Vegas to watch me, and I'm hearing them in the audience like, "Yeah, JoJo, you got this!" Like,
that's
and it's that
awesome.
you have that much support, that goes a long, long way, because we're all the way in Vegas now, and a lot of the athletes, like when they were up on the stage, it was silent because they didn't really have much support in the audience. Maybe their coach or their parents. But one thing I must say, my team, they really try to support me at every single show that I do. They
Mm,
show out and they are loud. Like,
that's awesome.
they are loud, and my best friends are there, my hubby's there, and they're cheering me on. And once I just look out in the audience and see their faces, it lightens me, it brightens me up on stage, and I get even more sassier for them when I when
Mm-hmm.
so it makes a huge difference. It really does.
Definitely. Like you really get to perform and you know that they're there and they've been cheering you on the whole time and now you
Mhm.
get to show it. And you put a lot of work into that prep and of course preps before that. And something that I appreciate that you talk about and that you've touched on in your Instagram before is, you know, you have to be on top of your game to be a competitor and you have to take it seriously. And there's a time and a place for everything in our commitments and like expectations of ourselves, but what are some signs you look for or even tell your clients about that would be unacceptable or maybe show them that they're not prepared or ready to fully immerse themselves into a prep or into the sport?
Great question. So first and foremost, I I know when an athlete is ready for prep and when they're not ready. And my mother and I, like, we're cutthroat. Like, we'll tell you exactly how it is. We have some athletes who, let's say they're in prep and their birthday is like right in the middle of prep. And they
Mhm.
decide, oh, I'm just going to go out this one night. I'm just going to drink here and work it off. For like, you're not ready. You're not
Mhm.
ready. Like, you have to decide balance is great. I applaud everyone for who can balance, and I'm still trying to work on that. Okay.
Mhm.
But when it comes to prep and you're X amount of weeks out from your show, there's absolutely nothing that should deter you or stray you from sticking to the plan 100%. Of course, things happen, unexpected things will pop up here and there, but things that you can control, like what you're eating and your training, nothing should get in the way of that. So when I have a client telling me, "Oh, I was too tired, I couldn't wake up to do the cardio," you're not ready. You're not
Mhm.
you're not ready. And as it may seem harsh, but your competitor, they're giving 110 while you're over here giving 90.
Mhm.
So a lot of times they need that tough love. Um, I'm not gonna baby my clients and tell them, like, of course you're supportive. You want to let them know like you're on their side, but you just gotta know the difference between things that you can and cannot control. Like I said, as far as your training and your diet. Now, if there's like a death in the family or work or school or something that got in the way and you couldn't get a training session in or a cardio session, and then okay, make up for it. But something like your birthday or I'm tired or, it's like
Mhm.
those are poor excuses to me. Um, so yeah, I just like to give it 100% and just leave no stones unturned, because once you get on that stage and let's say you don't do well, now you're beating yourself up because it's like, oh, if I did this, if I didn't do this, oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's too late. It's too
Mm.
late, and you're gonna beat yourself up about it, and it was no one's fault but your own. So
Exactly. I'm actually totally on the same page as you with that. I feel like if you're going to do a prep, do it right, do it to do it. And I think the pain is greater stepping on stage not knowing you gave your all than had you just given your all and said, I'll instead of saying I'll make up for my cardio, say I'll make up for my birthday.
Right. Exactly.
I yeah, that's something I think it's got to be a priority. And the considering how competitive it is now and how many people, even just want to do it as a bucket list item, it's like, show up for the sport, respect the sport enough to make it happen. And yes, you can find balance, and yes, you can make things work. Maybe your timeline needs to be adjusted in those
Right.
circumstances, but at the end of the day, like, have clear expectations of yourself and then commit to them.
Exactly. Like my friends, I would tell them like during this time, like don't even invite me anywhere. Like don't try to. I'm not coming. Of course, like there are moments where I've gone out and I have like my chicken breast in my purse, and you know,
Right.
it's like,
Eating out
and
of
then I'm
baggies.
right, and I'm drinking water while they're all drinking. It's like, why even put myself through that torture? Like, let me just not even go, catch up on some rest so I can wake up early and just do what I gotta do. So while I'm in prep, I'm barely if it's a birthday, because we're very like when it comes to birthday, my squad, like we don't miss each other's birthdays.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a birthday, then okay, I'm there with my chicken breast and my water bottle. But other than that, I just feel like I decided on this show. This is my priority right now, and it's just it's this is my main focus, and this is what I have to do for the time being. Like just train, eat, sleep, train, eat, sleep. That's it.
So let's talk about what happens after the show then, because you just mentioned you're looking to find some more balance with yourself. And so what are your goals, or what are your expectations after a show?
After a show, so one of my main hobbies is traveling.
Hmm.
So I always have a trip planned for after my shows. Unless I have another show like back to back, then of course not. But if let's say it's my last show for the season, the day after the show, of course, well the night of the show, I'm out with my family and my team and my friends. We enjoy the night. Probably the next morning I'll wake up and have enjoy breakfast with my mom. Um, but I'm pretty much most of the time out of the country after a show.
Wow.
Because I just feel like when I'm prepping, I give that my everything, and I put a lot of stuff, a lot of other
Mm-hmm.
things on the back burner. And I don't want, as much as competing is my passion, I would never want it to consume my entire life all the time. So I do love traveling, and I believe that there's a time and place for everything. Um,
Exactly.
Competing is one thing. Yeah, I'm gonna probably give half the year to competing, but I have to remain true to myself and stick to the other things that I love outside of bodybuilding, spending time with my friends and traveling and living a normal life. And so moving forward, like if I do compete in the future, I'm definitely gonna try to find more balance by during prep, probably try to spend more time with my friends, not be so absent, especially like in my relationship and everything else like that. It's gonna be hard, but I know it can be done. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's all mental, so
Exactly. It is all mental. And I mean, of course, you're pregnant right now. And I wanted you to be part of this Mother's Day celebration series because there was a lot of questions around, competitors who are getting pregnant or who want to who want to compete but have been moms or who are going to become moms. So I thought, let's do a Mother's Day series, and I knew I had to have you on it. So I'm really happy you're here, and I am so glad that we could talk about so much things about competing as well. And I just want the listeners to know I'm going to get into the mom stuff too, but I want to know for you, like, you just said you may if you compete again. Are you thinking you might not? Is it going to be up in the air?
I don't know. So I mean, everyone's situation is different. I would love to hop right back on stage, get like just get right back into it after my baby's born. But I'm a first time mom, and I really don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to just neglect motherhood. Like I said, I struggle with balance. So I think the thing that's most important for me right now is to focus on my baby and my family. And I don't know when I'll be able to just step back a little bit from motherhood to get to jump back into a prep. But I have a huge support system. I mean, my mom is here, hubby, all my friends and family. So I'm sure it won't be hard, but I gotta gauge it and see like how
Mhm.
I am in that element, with a child and how I'll be able to manage prep along with motherhood.
For sure. I was like, as I was prepping your episode, I was thinking, man, this is a woman who everything's scheduled, hard work. You show up, you're day in and day out. As a business owner and as a coach, there is really no off button a lot of the times.
Right, exactly.
Um, so how have you envisioned like moving forward with your scheduling or with your lifestyle after having your baby? You did just say focus on family and motherhood, but what are your thoughts around your business and coaching?
So the business, that's always going to be there. Um, Coaching like that's never gonna stop. I can always coach online, and those are things that's not physically tasking on me personally. So I feel like I'll be fine with having the baby and running the business at the same time. We do have a daycare there. I'm not saying that I'm just gonna throw my baby in the daycare, but worst come to worst, she'll be right there with me. And like I said, I have a huge support system. I still am very passionate about the gym and what I do. So I'm not going to drop all of that and just focus on the baby, of course. I would have to definitely learn a balance between the two, which I'm practicing right now. Like everything because I'm a perfectionist, I must say. So, exactly how I want things to run when the baby's here is how I'm kind of running my life right now, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So with the gym, I'm like at the gym at a certain hours, I'm not there 24/7 like usually I am. So now I'm like, okay, so this time would be, I'm with the baby, and then I come to the gym maybe from like 9 to 5, and then that's it. I won't um stay over a certain time limit. So I'm just pretty much practicing it that way. But yeah, definitely coaching will never stop and running the business will never stop. So
Right. Yeah, it's almost impossible as a business owner too when you're so passionate about it and
exactly.
you've
It's like I want
invested
to
so
be
much.
there. Yes. And listen, our athletes are like family to us. So
Mm.
I want to be there. Like I don't want to feel like I'm missing out on them. Like when they're prepping, I love to be there recording them and every posing session that the girls need, like I'm always there, and like I would hate to miss out on those things. Um, but given the circumstances, I'll just have to figure something out.
Well, it'll be awesome to see that unfold after your baby as comes as well. And actually talking about success in general, and I'm going to go back to the baby questions, but I was just thinking like you have said a few times like you're an all or nothing person, you're very much perfectionist, you're very passionate. And I think it's cool that on your Instagram you've actually touched on a little bit like talking about financial health, wealth, success, going after your dreams, staying true to yourself. So what do you personally consider to be true success in your life, and what do you believe has really allowed you to get there and continue to fulfill that?
So that's a great question. So my definition of true success is living out your passion, of course, knowing your purpose. And I feel like that's exactly what I'm doing. Um, I feel like a lot of people are still trying to figure it out, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, there's no certain age where you have to have life figured out, right? So I feel like once you're working towards a certain goal, like something you truly believe in, um, just working towards that every single day finding your purpose and just being staying positive and just being determined and just being a genuinely good person, having a good heart, you'll get there. And with me, um, I pride myself on really taking the time to have patience.
Mm.
That's one thing I'm learning, to be patient with myself. Um, at one point, I didn't know what I wanted to do until I started taking classes for business, and I figured like that was my passion. And getting into the fitness industry, I found out that was even my passion even more. So it takes time. I would say just be patient with yourself. Learn the things that make you happy.
Mm.
Like, don't do something or don't get a degree in a certain area because your parents are telling you so, or you think it's the right thing. I would say really take the time to find what truly makes you happy. Um, and I feel like that's what I've done, and I'm very proud of myself for that. Um, yeah. And there was a second part to your question. What was that second part?
Um, what do you, well, I think you kind of answered it, but what do you
Like,
believe, like what you believe has allowed you to achieve those successes? And yeah.
okay, so yeah, so as I said, my support system and my discipline. Like I said,
Mhm.
once I put my mind to something, there's no turning back. If I decide like I want to go after this degree, or I want to go after this pro card, or whatever the case is, um, nothing can stop me from getting there. And you just have to have that confidence in yourself. You have to trust yourself. And like I said, I'm a very spiritual person, so I talk to God a lot. He is really at the forefront of all my decisions, and I feel like he really helps me make it through.
Mm. That's awesome. And I appreciate you sharing that insight with us as well. And of course, part of that success, like you said, is finding what you're interested in, what you love to do. And you had told me in a message, you were really looking forward to being a mom and it's something you've wanted to do. So when you found out you were pregnant, was this like something you were really excited about? Is this something you guys were trying to have happen? Were you just going with the flow?
Just definitely just going with the flow, I must say. To us, it was like, okay, I think we're ready, but I still want to compete, but I'm like tiptoeing on the fence, like, is it time? Is it family time, or can I just do one more show or try to make it to the Olympia this year? But yeah, it's just I wasn't on birth control. It was just a matter of, if it happens, it happens. Leave it to God. He's a very spiritual person as well.
Mm.
So it just happened. Um, and we're happy. I mean, I feel very blessed to be able to carry life. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of women out there who are unable to, and I'm just grateful that I'm one of the ones that are very blessed to be able to carry a child. And I know a lot of women, especially athletes, well, athletes
Mhm.
in particular, they're scared to have a child because, well, not just to have a child, but to get pregnant in general, because they feel like it's going to ruin their bodies. Like, a lot of them have reached out to me over the past few months, like, wow, I see you doing it. Like, I feel like I can do it now. Like, you're inspiring
Mm.
me. Um, and I'm not the first. Like, I've seen a lot of bikini girls have kids and hop right back on stage, but there are quite a few who are just terrified of pregnancy ruining their bodies. They'll never be able to compete again. Like, this, it's the end of the world for them, and it shouldn't be that way, you know. Um, as much as competing might be our passions, like, if you have dreams of having a family of your own and being a mother, like, you can't let competing stop you, you know, because the stage will be there, yeah, but I mean, I feel like you still have to focus on your goals outside of bodybuilding as well.
Totally. That was a big inspiration for this series too, because so many women were like, I want to hear from the women who are pregnant and the women who've had babies, like how they knew that it was okay to step away from competing or what impact that's had. And you just mentioned how beautiful it's been to know you're carrying life, but I'm curious if there were any of those thoughts crossing through your mind about your body changing or seeing your body change and how you handled that.
Definitely. So, in all honesty, I was very terrified. I'm like, so what happens now? Like, am I gonna get stretch marks or
Mm-hmm.
um, is my stomach gonna get back, in combat stage shape? Because the skin stretches and things start to sag but I just I don't know. I guess I just try to keep a positive mindset, and our bodies are our bodies are very unique. Women, we are made to carry children, and I feel like we can do both. Why we can have the best of both worlds. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we can carry children and get right back to stage or competing or whatever it is that you decide to do. First of all, the physical aspect of it, it's you decide how you're going to eat, how you're going to train to get your body back. If you're going to have the baby and then become lazy and not be motivated anymore, then that's on you. That's your personal choice. But I do believe personally, I want it all, and I feel like it can be done. I've seen it done, and I know that I will get it done as well. um in the beginning I was scared because you're so used to seeing yourself at stage weight, and you have the small tiny waist, and now I'm looking at cellulite. I'm like, okay, what's going on? I feel like I'm back to square one. but
Mm-hmm.
but the main focus is just making sure that you're healthy for your baby, and that's it. Like, think about the rest later on. um Another thing that I'm trying to focus on is eating healthy, still eating healthy, not putting on too much weight. There's one thing is baby weight, another thing is binging and the excuse of eating for 2 or 3. No,
Mm-hmm.
you only need about 500 more calories than you usually would eat. So that eating for two is a myth. Um, so I feel like you can still maintain a healthy weight, and just don't let your body get out of hand, and don't pick up these bad habits that's going to be difficult to get rid of later on.
That's a big one.
Hmm.
Like you worked so hard for the lifestyle before, the discipline. I mean, you even talked about it, like the discipline going into your prep and looking back on your whole entire journey through that. And then you know that that's within you. So why let pieces and parts of that go just because you're entering this new phase of life? It's like you said, you can still live the lifestyle of taking care of your body and being healthy. So what are some of the things that you've done differently with your training and nutrition, or is there anything you've had to do differently because of how you felt, or maybe things doctors have said, or the way you've been feeling?
Yeah, so I try to listen to my body. The doctors, they tell me to just eat healthy, and I'm like, I've been eating healthy. Um,
Yeah.
so what I have done differently, I've definitely incorporated more fruits into my diet. So I'm eating like frequent fruit bowls throughout the day. I've learned that my baby loves oatmeal just as much as I do.
That puppy chow.
Yes, so I'm eating my puppy chow every morning, and she loves it. As far as exercising, I still try. Of course, it's frustrating. I can't lift as heavy as I usually do, but I'm getting cardio in. I just want to be as careful as possible. I see a lot of women like they're still doing deadlifts and squats, and like I would love to be that person, but I'm not. This is my first pregnancy, and I want to be as careful as possible and just be mindful of that. It's not about me right now. It's about
Mm.
my baby. So I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that it's a smooth pregnancy leading up to a smooth delivery. And then I'll just go all in later on. I'll focus on me later. But for now, my training is just cardio. I'm still eating my oatmeal and egg whites. Of course, I mean, I haven't had cravings. My pregnancy has been
Wow.
pretty easy going for me. I haven't been sick. I haven't thrown up once. I haven't really had cravings. If I do, I'll probably just go have a pizza and then get right back to it. So I'm still eating my vegetables. The baby still needs protein. I feel like exactly how I've been eating is what the baby needs. Is how I've just pretty much been eating exactly what I'm supposed to be eating. Just a little more fruits, I would say.
Yeah. It's so cool, like living the competition lifestyle, especially if you do focus more on whole foods and like the nutrients you're taking in, you're pretty much prepared to continue living a healthy lifestyle beyond that. And then it's like, why would that change all of a sudden?
Exactly. Because I'm not gonna lie, like my first trimester, I was like trying to like use pregnancy as an excuse to eat junk. So I'd like eat Chick-fil-A here and there. I'm like, I'm pregnant. I can do this. I need ice cream, But then after a while, it becomes like, okay, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
you're not. This is not good for your baby. Like, what are you really doing?
Mm.
So then I just got right back to it, and I feel fine. I feel great.
That's awesome too that you've had such a smooth pregnancy, and like you just said, you've been really focused on just listening and really honoring your body, it sounds like. So you're also really, really big on your faith and keeping faith. And I would love to know how you and your husband, well, is he your fiance or is he your husband?
That's not my hubby yet.
Okay, almost, almost. So I was like, I keep referring to him as that because your message, and then I was like, but I looked at the photo. So, um,
Yeah, we speak it into existence. I'm wifey and he's hubby. So.
that's so funny. I always just like whenever the topic of marriage comes up around my boyfriend, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'd marry you. And he's like, oh my God, shut up. I'm like, this is our hashtag. This is what we're doing. But anyway, he's a surgeon, right? So,
He's Yeah, he's a physician. He's finishing up residency right now.
oh,
And
okay.
yes,
How's that been given the situation? Has that been scary or anything?
it has been, but he is super cautious, of course, with pregnancy and everything going on. He does not come in the house with his work clothes on at all.
Hmm.
He'll strip and change before even entering the house. When he's at work, he's in a full suit, not just mask. They have him in like a full helmet and the whole thing, the entire year.
That's
And
because they know that he has a pregnant.
right. And
Oh,
he's based in North Carolina, Wilmington right now. So there
wow.
are not much cases there. There are really not much cases there. So it's not as bad. It's not as bad.
Wait, he is in North Carolina?
Carolina, Wilmington, yeah.
Oh, does he commute there from Florida? Wait,
he's he's
okay.
yeah, he's here for some months and then he's there for a few months.
Oh, got
So
it.
a
Well,
little
I'm
bit
glad they're being so cautious. And of course, he knows all the right steps to take. So,
more.
if anything, it's probably better than someone just randomly going into hospital and coming home and bringing that. It's your husband knows what to do.
Yes, he surely does.
So you did talk about how you guys were just kind of going with the flow and you had those thoughts of like, well, should I try to get on the Olympia stage this year? Should I not? And I thought it was cool that you talked about, just at some point your competition goals may come back into play, but it's also important to look at your other life goals. And in this time of being pregnant, is there anything you've learned about yourself or just in general about life that you could see yourself applying as a competitor or as a person moving forward that you think will be beneficial for you?
Absolutely. I've definitely learned to have more patience with myself and with others. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm like an all or nothing person where sometimes I don't even have patience with myself. Like I don't cut myself any slack. If I'm tired, I don't care. Like it has to get done. And now I've learned to appreciate, like to just listen to my body,
Mm.
and that's something I really want to take with me moving on, because I feel like that's very important. As far as whether you're in bodybuilding or not, you want to take care of your body and listen to your body. Yeah, we're all very driven towards our goals, but you want it to be sustainable, right?
Mhm.
So I feel like what happens to me a lot of times, I get burnt out because I'm so go, 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 100% giving it
Right.
all. So you get burnt out after a while. Right now, I'm really learning like to just be patient and take your time. Um, Other than that, I find that I'm more affectionate and loving towards my friends and family. Usually, I'm not a very open person, but I don't know if it's just the hormones, but I've been like expressing myself and telling my friends how much I love them every day, and I feel like I'm more bubbly and just lively, and that's one thing I've noticed. I feel like motherhood, well, not motherhood as yet, but just being pregnant has made me kind of more, I would say, not emotional, but I'm more open to expressing my feelings to people.
Mm.
Yeah, and I like it. I like where it's going. And but as far as what I'll take with me into prep, I would say is the patience.
Mhm.
Definitely.
That's really cool. I love that. I love that you had an answer for that question too, because that was kind of off the cuff and I was just thinking like I think there's always something to learn in any stage or any day of life, and then it's how we apply it, right? And I love that you're already like thinking about that and realizing those things and just so present with yourself and like knowing you're going to be going into motherhood soon. Is there anything that you learned from your childhood or things that you want to bring into your baby's life or ways that you plan on almost like approaching parenting?
Okay, so I think my mother did a pretty good job. So I just want to follow her footsteps. No, but let me see. I definitely now feel like everything our parents have told us that they've been through and they try to warn us about, and we're just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But later on, we realize, oh, well, I guess they were right. I'm definitely going to try to instill the same values and morals that my mother instilled in me,
Mm.
definitely in my daughter.
What were some of those things that stand out?
Just to be a very strong woman. Um, in high school, I've seen a lot of girls get taken advantage of, and it's pretty sad because I've always been like on the opposite side, like as far as relationship wise. Like I've always learned to just be headstrong, not get taken advantage of, and just stay true to who you are, be a leader. Um, don't fall into influences or peer pressure. That's something I'm very proud of. I'm my own person, so I definitely want to instill those values into my daughter for sure. I
Mm.
feel like that would help her in all aspects in life.
That's awesome. I love that. I think that is just so cool. And it's really awesome too that you said you developed a stronger relationship with your mom as the years went by. Did you ever feel like self-conscious about yourself because you didn't live the same lifestyle she did?
Um, Before I would visit her at the gym, like I mentioned, like before even being around her friends and her fitness, lifestyle, I was perfectly fine. Like I was okay. So when I say I was overweight, like in my eyes, I feel like I was, but everyone else felt like, like thick. Like I was that
Yeah.
thick girl because I always had the small waist, but I was just so heavy to myself. So, um, people around me always like they would come think I'm sexy, thick, and this and that. So it I never felt self-conscious. I never felt like I was less than or anything like that.
Mhm.
It's just really after my health started deteriorating like internally, that's when I'm like, okay, there has to be a change. Now being thick and sexy or whatever they wanted to call me, going into the gym and seeing all the fit women
Mhm.
and how they would look at me like, that's Alita's daughter. Like, oh, yeah, she doesn't look like Alita's daughter. That's when I'd be like,
Mhm.
okay, I don't belong here. Like, I
Yeah.
need to get out of here. So
Did that motivate you?
it did. It did. I must say it did. Because I knew that one day I wanted to try it, just, working out. But I'm not from an athletic background, but
Mhm.
I did want to run track at one point, but I just was physically just not up to par. Um, so I knew like I wanted to push myself. Sooner or later, I knew I'd get into the gym just try to work out and be active. But
Mhm.
um, but yeah, just I don't know, everything just falls into place.
It
Everything
does.
happens when it's supposed to happen.
So true. I absolutely agree. And I love everything that you've shared with us. And it sounds like those beliefs and those values and holding that faith has really helped you in all these different areas of your life. And of course, I'd love for everybody to be able to connect with you. But first, I wanted to know if there's any last bit of advice that you'd like to share with girls who have never competed before but would like to compete, and then girls who are on their road to pro.
Girls who have never competed before and would like to compete, I would say make sure you're doing it for the right reason.
Mm.
Um, Make sure you're doing it for you. Make sure you're doing it to become a better person. Um, Make sure you're not doing it just for a win. You're not doing it for endorsements or for money. Because let me tell you something, competing will not make you rich. It will not get you the money that people think. Um, so yeah, just make sure you're doing it for the right reason. Make sure you have a solid coach, a coach that is reputable.
That word.
Yeah. With a lot of experience, do your research. And to an athlete trying to earn their pro card,
Mhm.
I would say the most important advice is to not cheat yourself. Like I touched on
Mm.
earlier, you never want it to become a case where it's I I should have did this, or if I didn't do this, if I didn't do that. No, you just stick to the plan. Let nothing deter you or get in the way of the goal that you've set forth. If you already have a date for your pro qualifier, your national show, whatever it is you're doing to earn that pro card, just do everything in your power to nail your prep 100%. And like I said, things are going to come up here and there, but things that you control, make sure that you are doing your part in that.
I love that. I love that advice. Thank you so much, Jodi. You are really amazing.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
having me.
Of course. No, seriously, it's been so awesome. And you're actually a very highly requested guest. But I'd love if you could share with everyone where they can find you and connect with you. And yeah, just even learn more, maybe even get posing coaching with you.
Okay, so my Instagram is at Jojo__Riley. So it's Jodi _Riley. My website is www.jojorileyfit.com. You can find out more about me, about my online coaching, my posing, and so on. I also have my mini glute bands available on my website, so you can check them out there. It's jojorileyfit.com.
Awesome. Well, I'll make sure I put all of those links in the show notes page. So to everyone listening, that's always on www.celestial.fit/podcast. If you go to the category section and you look for Jodi Riley, you'll be able to find it there. Or of course, if you're listening, the day it comes out because you're a true fan, then it's going to be right at the top of that page. So make sure you guys reach out, tag us, let us know what your main takeaways were, the things you loved about the episode. And the nicest thing you could do is share it with a teammate, share it with a friend, and let this podcast be heard by even more people, because I so appreciate your guys' support over the years. And it's just been amazing. And I appreciate you guys so much for listening and tuning into another episode. And Jodi, thank you for being a part of the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope to be back soon.
Of course. Yeah, that would be awesome. I would love that. And everybody listening, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you're listening to this episode. Just be